All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Oh.
And today we're talking watches. Specifically, we're looking at a review that was sent in of the Seiko 5 SNKP21J1.
Okay.
And this is kind of an interesting one, right?
Right.
Because it's a Seiko 5.
Right.
So, we all know Seiko 5s are known for being sort of affordable automatic watches.
Yeah.
But this one in particular has this black dial with the Arabic numerals. And, looking at the pictures, it kind of reminds me of like a vintage military type of watch.
Well, that's really interesting you say that, because a lot of the design elements that you see in this watch actually harken back to those early military watches. So, just think about it for a second.
Yeah.
You're a soldier.
Yeah.
You're in the trenches.
Right.
Maybe it's nighttime visibility is low. You need to be able to look down at your wrist and know instantly what time it is.
Yeah.
So legibility
Right.
is paramount.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of those watches had, the high contrast dials, the big bold numerals.
Oh, yeah.
It was all about function over fashion.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Even in the review that we got, the reviewer mentions how legible the watch face is. And they also talk about, the date complication as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which I have to admit, I didn't think I would ever be into that feature.
Sure.
But, I've had a couple of watches with that feature, and it's actually really handy.
Yeah, it grows on. You start to appreciate the convenience of it.
Right.
But moving on, let's talk about the actual construction of the watch.
Okay.
So it has a stainless steel case and bracelet.
Okay.
Which the reviewer said, it felt solid.
Yeah.
Well constructed. But they also mentioned that it felt a little bit lightweight.
Yeah, that was interesting to me. Because
what do you think about that?
I've always liked watches that have like a good weight to them. But then also, I've noticed sometimes if I wear a really heavy watch, by the end of the day, my wrist will be kind of sore.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious, is it a good thing that it's lightweight?
Well, I think that just comes down to personal preference.
Okay.
The weight of a stainless steel watch can vary quite a bit.
Right.
Depending on the type of steel that's used and how the bracelet itself is constructed.
Okay.
So some people really like that substantial feel on the wrist.
Right.
Others prefer something a little bit lighter.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then moving on to the actual movement of the watch.
Yes.
I see here it's an automatic movement. Now, can you break down for somebody who might be more familiar with a quartz watch?
Sure.
What exactly does that mean?
So an automatic movement it's a really fascinating piece of engineering. Instead of having a battery, it actually uses a rotor that spins as your wrist moves, and that spinning motion winds up a spring, and that's what powers the watch.
So you're basically the battery.
You are the battery.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's interesting with this watch because not only are you getting kind of a cool, unique style, but you're also getting into, that world of mechanical watches.
Exactly. And Seiko 5s, they have a really long history of being very reliable and actually surprisingly accurate. For an automatic movement at a very affordable price.
Right.
There are definitely trade-offs when you go for a more budget-friendly mechanical watch. But Seiko is one of those brands that consistently delivers a lot of value.
For sure. And speaking of value, I see the reviewer mentioned that this watch retails for around $149.
Yeah.
Which, for an automatic,
like a steal.
That seems like a really good deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely a great entry point, it sounds like.
Absolutely. If you're curious about mechanical watches and you don't want to, spend a ton of money, I think this is a fantastic option.
Cool.
And they're not as common these days. Quartz watches are obviously the dominant force in the market. But there's just something so charming about a watch that ticks instead of hums.
I agree.
And just to round things out, this watch has a 5 ATM water resistance rating.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So basically that means it can handle splashes, rain, but don't go swimming with it.
Okay. So it's good for everyday wear.
Yeah, everyday wear.
Yeah.
You wash your hands.
Okay, perfect.
You get caught in the rain, you're good to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so to recap, this is a uniquely styled Seiko 5. That sounds like it's very durable, very easy to read.
Yeah.
And powered by your own movement.
Exactly.
And all for a reasonable price.
I think you nailed it.
All right, well, that brings us to a question for everyone listening.
Okay.
When you are choosing a watch, what features are the most important to you? Is it the style?
Yeah.
Is it the movement?
Right.
Is it the durability? Or is it something else entirely?
That's a great question.
Think about it and let us know. And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
All right, take care.